on the record button, everyone. We're recording it for people that aren't able to be here. Okay, here we go. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today at 4. I just want to tell you, I am just so impressed with me using all this kind of visual technology and not messing up too badly. But if I do mess up today, just know that I am a newbie. So welcome. I really thank you for your support. First of all, I hope that you're all healthy. I hope that if you're near somebody with sniffles, you stay away, and if you have sniffles yourself, you stay home. This is just an interesting time. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the support and the kind notes that people have been sending along. It means a lot because we have been going nonstop since last week. I had a feeling on Monday last week that we would be where we were on Friday. So a couple of weeks ago, my son-in-law is a financial plan analyst, and he's been tracking business trends for a while. And when I called my daughter's house a few weeks ago and said, "Where's Tom?" And she said, "He's out doing his survivor thing, going to get food." I decided we needed to buckle down, and then immediately I started with staff saying, we're going to be in this, we need to start. And so 2 weeks ago, we started thinking about how could we possibly do this. So I have the most remarkable staff. Ian has been the most amazing tech person ever. Jess Palmieri has been the most amazing communications director. And the three of us have kind of been navigating ourselves through, and then we pull in teachers. Pam has been working with teachers, and we have a couple of sparkler teachers with technology. And so things are just evolving really, really nicely. Our thoughts at first, before I even start, if you have, there's a chat box in your upper right hand, and I'm monitoring it. So feel free to put comments in the chat box, and as I monitor, I will look at it. And if I, and it may be that I ask you to share what you're telling me on the chat box. I'll do that. Thank you for keeping your microphones muted, because with a lot of people, it's hard to manage big groups on a virtual like this. So when we first got together and we thought, how could we possibly do this? We decided that we were going to do A Day, B Day, because to think that we could have all 6 subjects in one day in a household virtually when there were other children in the household was we thought was going to be pretty untenable. So we devised the A Day, B Day, where children have up to 3 subjects on each day. If your child is an upper school child in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, IT through T2, then typically they have an ELA block and so that would mean that on one day you might have an ELA block and then another subject. So it would only be 2 classes or 2 assignments for that day. Knowing that our older students are far more capable with the technology than our younger students, we knew that there were going to be some differences in how assignments were planned. We wanted parents to have an absolute idea about which class assignments would be on which day, what teacher contact information was, what were some of the tools we were going to be using for learning, knowing full well that at the beginning it might be more paper-driven or tool-driven, but that as we got into this, we were going to be interacting virtually with children. And I have to tell you, day 2 into the instruction, I just got off an upper school cluster call with Pam and Ian, that there are many teachers that are already going to virtual classrooms. So, so just know that this is evolving, and that as we do things differently, we are going to be sharing it with you. I understand that you're working from home and that there's other children in the household, and we have gotten a lot of thoughtful comments and suggestions that it seemed like there were a lot of emails coming in. And the instructions to teachers were 1 email per class per day, and there was supposed to be a consistent subject line so it would be easily identifiable as to what subject, that it was the Summit School, what teacher, what subject. I think as we launched, I think some of that might have gotten muddied. So, but I'm not sure. So if you're telling me there's a lot of emails, you know, I certainly apologize. And I hope as we move forward that the emails will tamp down. But I think also some of the things that we were just brainstorming of putting in place might cut down on those emails. There are some teachers that said that they have a class where the parents wanted, you know, the emails in the evening. Usually those are the lower school students. So while we have a system set up, we certainly are very amenable to making it work for each individual family. I wonder if you can do this on Google Chat, have you gone to that lovely website that Jess Palmieri launched for us? Can you just let me know on the chat box? All right, so most of you have. I'm going to put it up there just because I am just thrilled with it, but also I think that
Did we lose Joan? Anyone there?
Yeah.
Folks, hang on. I think Dr. McCarthy may have accidentally dropped off, so just hang on a moment. She'll probably be coming right back on.
Yeah. Okay. Here I am. I'm back. I was muted, couldn't get back on because I was trying to present. So I'm not going to get fancy. Jess and I had practiced this before, and I guess it's not working. So I have sent out to you the link for the website. I would love for you to be able to check it every day. It's the things you need, the strategies for kids, but we're loading on things daily. So Jen White just added some calm technique on there, and she'll be contributing on there. We're adding book readings for the kids, all kinds of tools. So please go back to that website every day and check, and that'll be a way for us not to send you emails with the next cool thing we find. So so that would be very helpful. I'm assuming you can see me too, correct? Yes? Okay. So at this point, I want to bring Ian on to just see if he has anything to share with respect to technology and how he's helping students and families with technology.
Hey folks, I just as an aside, I just shared that link to the website that we've been working on. So
Thank you.
I'm sure you've gotten it in a lot of ways, but it's there also. So we are learning amazing things almost every minute. It's amazing the time dilation that has increased and the amount of learning that's gone on both by students and staff. We are working both to educate teachers and also to provide tech support for both our teachers and faculty. So please know I'm always available. I'm best reached by email, and I have an assistant that I am kind of sending trouble tickets who's helping me too. And if I don't get back to you immediately, it's because I'm working with somebody else, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So I'm always here to help, and even though our team is separate physically, we are continuing to work together and are adapting, pivoting, and changing this program to make it better as we go.
So I'd like to ask Pam to join us and talk about the work that she's doing with teachers and the way we've structured our meetings and our interactions with teachers during this time. Pam, you were there before.
There I am.
There you go. Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm in constant contact with the teachers, just brainstorming some ideas of how we can present different lessons. Of course, it looks a little bit different for upper school than it does for lower school, but we're in constant communication. I started calling parents last night and getting input from all of you as well. If your child is having a hard time accessing any of the information, please just let us know. Shoot us an email. We want you to be successful, and we want your students to be successful. I said we're constantly in meetings. I've been on meetings most of today, just in various ways talking about technology and organizing information for teachers and parents and families. So we're here for you. So one of the things that we're talking about is looking at a schedule of live Google Meets for each class. Mm-hmm. So just today at our upper school cluster, we put together a tentative schedule, and teachers will be communicating this with your children about when their Google Meet class is. And so we want that children to take it seriously. If there's something that prevents a child from doing that Google Meet classroom virtually, just email the teacher and they'll work it out. But we do want the children to take this seriously and to complete assignments, not only because we want them to learn, of course, but we also want to be able to document their learning and their attendance and their diligence with their studies. So just know that even though we set up a structure to start the launch, next week might bring some different things. Already today, Clinton Cottrell did diversity team with the upper school students. He did a Google Meet where other people are talking about different ways to engage students. I was worried about isolation. And the kids, as they get onto these Google Classrooms, Google Meets, they're really excited to see their teachers and really excited to see their friends. So, so communication and interaction, I think, is key for all of us. So I think what I would like to do too is just do some, Google Meets with parents, probably in the evening. I don't know when's easier. We could do in the morning, we could do some in the evening, but just so people can get on, see each other, just chat and ask me questions. Not that I always have the answer, but I think it's important for us to interact with each other, because this is new, novel ground. I'm looking at some of the chat lines here. Thanks, Jen. The communication has been very clear. There hasn't been a question on what needs to be done and when it needs to be done by. Thanks a lot. There was a question that came to me just before this meeting about, will there be a class for parents on Google Meet and Google Hangouts and Google Docs? And I think we definitely can do that. And we would put it up at a time when we think people can attend, but then we can always record this so that if you can't attend, you can look at the recording and then always get in contact with Mr. Davis or Mr. Walsh to help. So any other, if you want to throw out some questions. Thanks, Mr. Davis, for assisting with technical issues. That's terrific. That was from Charles Milling's mom. There is nothing that I know of from the state of Maryland. I don't know if you know, but I serve on the State Board of Education for the Maryland State. We have had nothing, but there will be a board meeting on Tuesday. So those board meetings are public, but it is going to be virtual. So as soon as I finish with that meeting, if there's anything pertinent to what we do, I will certainly share it with you. Any questions, anything that you would like to share with the group? I'm looking at the chat line. Rob Malone says, is it possible for email for the lower school students to be turned on so assignments can be sent directly to students? Assignments with embedded links are hard to move around to get on a Google Chromebook. Ian, I'm going to let you answer that question.
Yeah, I think that's something as a team we will look at. We got to work through a couple issues, both on the technical side and on the just kind of administrative side of opening up email to our youngest students. But it's definitely something we will look at as an option, because I see how that would help communication.
Dana Peterson says, thank you, Dana. Great job getting started. A little bit of information overload. Tell me about it. I thought I was brain dead when I went home last night. My husband just looked at me and said, what are you doing all day? I said, oh, don't even ask. But she says, will everything my T1 child needs to do be on Google Classroom? That is up to the individual teacher. So the teachers will be working that through. We did talk about that. I personally don't know the answer. Can you answer that better, Pam? Because we just talked about that at cluster.
I'm sorry, repeat the question one more time.
Will everything my T1 child needs be done on Google Classroom?
It should, and on Google Classroom, and also with the live meetings. The teachers, when I left their meeting, they were still scheduling what that's going to look like, and they're going to communicate that with the parents. They're also they have their office hours where they can meet with students and with parents as well. And they're also video recording everything that they do with students in live sessions and posting that to Google Classroom so families can access that information as they need to. But everything should be able to be completed on Google.
Thank you for that. The other thing I want to say that for kids, some of the kids were thinking, woohoo, even as they left Thursday for our 4-day weekend, I think people were feeling that school was going to be closed. And so I think for some kids, it's hard to get them settled into a routine. And so on the letter I sent with you, I shared there was a link with my daughter's schedule for her 3- and 5-year-old, which I thought was very funny. And she told me she thoroughly enjoyed coloring in that schedule. But I think kids have to know that there is a schedule and that you get up, I personally would get them dressed, but that's a household thing, and that they have to get up. This is school, there's a schedule, and then once they're done with their schoolwork, they can entertain themselves. But some parents have been struggling with that, and if you continue to struggle with it, certainly Pam or me or Jen White or Leslie Eggett or Nicole Easton can certainly help give you tips on how to settle your child down to get them in the swing of doing school in a new way. And Pam says lower school is in the process of scheduling extracurricular activities to help students not feel isolated. Would you like to talk about that, Pam?
Sure. We just want to make sure that we stay connected with all of the students, and so we're probably going to start with a weekly, and we might even move to a daily. We're doing book reads, and we might do something like Wacky Wednesdays or Fun Fridays. Right now, we're just in the brainstorming stage of everything, but the teachers are communicating and coming up with different ideas of how we can get kids online, maybe even during lunchtime, and we can read a book and chat about what they're doing. Really, the opportunities are endless, and the teachers have, an amazing just their creativity. I'm just in awe of all the different activities that they're coming up with and their ideas. So that will be coming out to you shortly, I hope.
And the challenge for us is respecting the fact that you have a massive amount of emails coming through to you. And so as we plan these new things, we just want to be respectful of how to communicate it. I know that I just feel that the website that we launched could be that place that if you checked it daily in the morning and at night, it would enable, and that we knew you were checking it, it would enable us not to send out all these emails that can be distressing. Or I'm asking the question, if we have something new popping up, would it be better if we sent you an email in the evening, not during the day when you're getting work emails? Would that be better? And you can answer on the chat box. Because we want to let you know when these things are coming up, but we don't want to make you crazy with the amount of emails that are coming.
Right, and Joan, we also talked about adding the extracurricular activities to the bottom of their the teachers' emails that they're sending out with their assignments. So once we have a better idea of the structure, we'll just include that information.
Trina Hawkins for Charles says that they're having issues sending videos of physical activities. I think due to the school security. Email is coming back to me due to the security, Charles, and this is Charles Milling's mom. Ian, can you and Chris work with Mrs. Hawkins on that? Because I know the kids, I love the specials team, art, music, and PE, have sent out really creative activities for the kids. And they want some kind of documentation that the child has done them by 4 o'clock on Friday. Most of the time, I think you'll see from teachers that they want classwork and homework by 4:30 of the day it was assigned, unless your teacher says something different. The LA teacher said that some children are in the habit of doing their hoof prints at night before bedtime. That's fine. So for the most part, we want children to know this is not a free-for-all. You have to do your work and you have to hand it in by 4:30 at the end of the day, unless a teacher specifically tells them something different. Let me see, I'm looking. Can teachers send the next books on the classroom reading list so we can order or obtain virtual? Yes. Can teachers send, Pam, that was from Valerie's mom. Can teachers send the next books? Yeah. We can do that. We'll work on that. Let's see. And Dana, you said what I mean, it should be all in one place for him. In other words, it's easier if everything were on Google Classroom so that he can just go there. I'm assuming that's what you mean. We're really working on making things concise and very clear. We're all getting pretty fun and creative and ingenious with videos and embedding videos. Let's see. I'm looking at, appreciate the video Ms. Taylor sent out so Amy could hear and see her explain what was expected for her LA yesterday. Someone also said that they wanted a Google Meet for the lower school LA students. Pam, what are we going to do with that? I think we're working on something like that. Would you agree?
We are. I think the thought was that the lower school students, especially our SMU students, would have more of a challenging time navigating all of the technology and things. But I think the teachers feel that there's a need, so we're working on that.
So another question from Mrs. Catalano says, how will the students receive feedback from teachers on their assignments? So for the children that get graded, so now it's fifth graders because it's the end of the school year through 8th grade, their teachers will be grading assignments and giving the children feedback. And so we are trying to keep things going in the way that children are used to. With respect to the lower school, feedback is always different. And I really can't answer that question. Do you have an answer for that, Pam?
I don't. I think that is a great question. And I agree with you. With the upper school students, everything is hooked to Google Classroom and the teachers are able to give feedback and the grading system is all embedded. But with the lower school students, other than iGroup, I don't know that we've addressed that. So I'll send out a message to the teachers and we'll get back to you on that. But great question.
Right. And Pearl's mom says that the emails are overwhelming, and I get that. And we're working to pull together a better system. We hear you. We hear you. And like I said, sometimes what's in your mind's eye and the vision that you think will work sometimes becomes more. So even though we figured that parents would only get 2 to 3 emails per day, sometimes it's not working out. We're working on it, and I appreciate your feedback. One mom says, Lenata says, I'm struggling with monitoring the emails to support accountability. Can there be one email with the agenda and deadlines to support this process? We're working on it. We're working on it, and we talked about accountability at our upper school cluster meeting, because it's very important that teachers are able to let kids know that they're being held accountable and then to monitor that. So these are all great questions, and we're learning as we go. Let's see. I'm looking. Okay, so Lusana says, what are the expectations in terms of time spent needed per day? Lower school is probably different than upper school. That was just part of the upper school conversation, Pam, correct?
Right. So they're scheduling classes, live classes, 1 hour block of time. And then, of course, the assignments would have to be completed after that.
Right. So what do you think the time spent on assignments? I would say, I don't know. I don't have that answer.
Yeah. I know I've heard from some parents where, their children are working through the assignments pretty quickly. And some are taking a little bit longer. So I think it kind of depends on the student and the learner as well.
So I think if your student is blasting through and you would like more work, you communicate with your teacher, and we're happy to provide you with more work. The question is, does upper school have an early AM connect time? So at this point in this model, we don't have a connect time. If this drags on and we see that would be an important piece to add, then certainly we can talk about it. But right now, as we're tweaking and getting used to using technology and being creative in such a different way, I would say no, but I wouldn't say that it's not something that might not come up in the future. Thanks, Erin. Thanks for your kind words. I appreciate it. Sharon Judge says, at some point, can you give the T1 students guidance on how to complete their Give-A-Hoot projects? We talked about that with Nicole, right? What did we decide? Pam, we had that conversation.
So I know Nicole was going to pop into this meeting. I was hoping she would. I remember seeing some communication that we were going to postpone for now until we got a better handle on it. And I'm not sure what the decision was made.
Yeah, I think we're going to do something. I think a little bit of the conversation was we would have students research a cause, make a brochure, become familiar with a nonprofit that is something that they're interested in, but we haven't put that together quite yet.
I'll send a message out to Nicole and we'll get a response for you. Thank you.
Okay, so Valerie's going to love you, Lisana. We are left with dead time that I would love to be filled more productively. I hear you. So look on the website too. We try to load it up with other kinds of fun activities. I hear you. Day 2 for my daughter was Sunday, right? And so I FaceTime them. They were outside somewhere, and she had the look. And she's got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. I said to her, "Why do you have the look?" She goes, "Day 2 out of 30. This is going really well." So it's hard. It's hard, but you know, we're gonna have to figure out how to do it.
Mhm.
Anything else? I'm at the end of my chat. I'm not seeing. If I didn't answer your question, repost. Okay, and Barbara Baisley says, Barb says, how will parents know if our kid is doing all that is expected each day? We have been talking with teachers to make sure that they're keeping communication and contact with parents. There have been a couple of children, a couple of our older kids who missed a couple of classes. And so my immediate response is, you know, let the parents know. So I think as we work through this, we will probably have some communication from teachers to let you know, to help you understand if the child is meeting those expectations. I think certainly by getting their assignments in by 4:30 is important. And I think if the assignments aren't in, not I think, you will hear about it. You know, this is not optional. So, okay. Lynette says, what will grades look like moving forward? I can't give you a definite question. I'm just going to say that we're on upper school cluster and children will receive grades. We're going to do the best we can. It's going to be different. And I do think as we get more into this, we're going to get way better at it. So these are all good questions, but I don't have the answer. I wish I did, but I just don't.
Do you mute yourself?
No. No.
Okay.
What else? Anything else? Oh, thanks, Lasana. I appreciate it. I have to tell you, too, that while this is a challenge, we're pumped because this is a totally new frontier. This is an opportunity for us to really be creative and do things differently. So this is not a burden for us. This is really exciting. And so your comments, your positive comments spur us on to keep doing it, and your constructive suggestions help us get better. So, so I just want to thank you. Thank you so much. We couldn't do this without you. This is truly a partnership. And I sent you out my phone number. Feel free. Email. I've always got my devices around me. You know how to contact people. Don't shy away from communicating, because that's how we're going to make this work, and that's how we're all going to stay engaged. Just stay healthy. Oh, and I want to tell you one more thing. There is a very skeleton crew here in the house. So I'm here in my little girl cave, and you can see, when you see my pictures up, you see the shoe memorabilia in the back. Jess Palmieri is here with me. I've asked everybody to stay home and work remotely. And until I can't, I will be here in my little girl cave, working and being available, and also when things calm down, clean out my Fibber McGee's closet in the corner. So, but people are here, very skeleton crew, and we're being very respectful of staying healthy and making sure that everybody else stays healthy. So I don't have anything else. I want to thank you for your time. I am so appreciative and I'm humbled to serve such a wonderful community. So have a great night, and let's keep talking. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.